CH11, the Beast of the South 1. A short dark elf then jumped beside her. She just came from the south of the forest while riding her high-level magical beast that has the resemblance of a gigantic and monstrous black wolf. A four-legged beast with red eyes and a dark green pelt that flows majestically when sprinting. Its body length was about at least 20 meters. Oh, you're back, Aura. Momonga-sama tasked me to find and locate that beast in the south of this forest and report it to him. It's weak though, but I like its hide, it would make a great pelt. Ha, Momonga-sama, why haven't you tasked me to go to your chambers yet? Shaltir muttered as she exaggeratedly sighed. Geez, you know that I could hear you right. Aura will surely hear her because Aura has one of the keenest ears compared to her other fellow floor guardians. TCH. Shut up, Shorty. Shaltir said to Aura. Both of them had been assigned somewhere in the central forest of Tob. They are overseeing the construction of a dummy Nazaric base. Their master must have known that they are the best for the task, that is why he had assigned them here, and that in itself makes their heart jump in joy. But something still irked Shaltir. That gorilla, she thought annoyingly. She's having the advantage since her work is being beside the glorious Supreme One. Albedo's position is enviable, not only she leads the floor guardians, but she is also allowed to stay beside their master. But I'm thankful that Momonga-sama is not in Nazaric with that gorilla. She thought smugly. But then, Aura spoke again. And what are you going to do in Momonga-sama's bedroom? Sleep. You have your bed, right? Aura said while giving her a weird look, disrupting Shaltir's train of thoughts in the process and making her more annoyed. Aura Bella Fiora, she's the creation of the older sister of her creator. While they are designed to have siblings, quarrel. Something deep inside Shaltir makes her annoyed by this short elf for some reasons unknown, as if it's natural. Ha. What's with your little brain, Shorty, even though we have explained it to you already? Oh. That's it, it's because you're just a child. At least I'm a child now while you are going to be a child forever. What do you mean by that? Shaltir asked, genuinely confused. What's wrong being young forever? She thought confusingly, that's every woman's dream. Exactly. Fake boobs. Realization struck Shaltir. Aura already made her distance away from her. Grr, you. Dash 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 dash. Carne Village. A mumbled sound could be heard in Enri's home, or to be more accurate, Enri's parents' home. The mumbled sound came from Enri as she screamed on her pillow. Momon-sama said it tastes good. She thought as screamed again on her pillow. She is being like this because her crush likes the food she cooked. This is the first she had become like this. Enri doesn't have crushes in that. She's a diligent girl, a good girl if you will. But now even Enri herself doesn't know why she's being like this, because of a man that maybe she will only meet once or twice her entire life. She also forced the village chief to be the guide of Momon's team in finding the herbs, but the chief declined. She thinks that even the chief himself must have been weirded out by her. As she cringed by that fact. She heard knocking sounds coming from the main door, and she hurriedly composed herself before heading there. Village chief. Enri opened the door and saw the chief. The chief sighed and opened his mouth. Enri-chan. I knew your parents well. To be honest, I will refuse for you to be the guide, but you see, the goblins convinced me. The chief said as he looked behind worriedly to the troop of goblins macho posing at the back. He sighed again. Okay Enri, you will be the guide, and here's the map where the herbs grow. I only wish the best of you two sisters. I hope you the best, Enri. Good luck and be safe. Yes. Village chief. Thank you very much. Enri replied as she bowed, but inside she's jumping in joy. Don't worry, village chief. We're going to protect Enri. Jugum said, and the other goblins shouted in agreement. Fine, fine. Momondono and his team are also there. I'm sure you are all going to be fine, as long you lot stayed in the outskirts of the forest and didn't step in the wise king of the forest's domain. Yes, village chief. Now, head to the gate. Momondono and his team is already there. I'm going to guide Momon-sama. Enri happily thought. Dash 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 dash. The village chief is preparing for the guide of their saviors earlier when Henry volunteered to be the guide. He refused because it's kinda dangerous and Henry is the daughter of a friend. But the goblins convinced him to let Henry be the guide. They also said Henry is love-struck by Momin and said if he wants the best for Henry, then he should let her be the guide. A village girl and a knight falling in love. I wished you the best, Henry. The village chief thought. Dash 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 dash. Henry went to the gate and she saw the 3 adventurers with gold plates in their necks. Nabe Sama, Gina Sama, and M. Momin Sama, I am Henry Emmett, and I am going to be your guide. She introduced herself to the 3. I stuttered. Henry panicked inside. Oh, Henry don't know then. Oh, you brought some bodyguards. Yeah, probably you're the most suitable guide. Let's go then, Henry don't know. Yes. Henry replied with a light blush. 5 goblins accompanied her. It's Jugum the goblin leader, 3 goblin warriors, and 1 goblin archer. They started the journey after that. They strolled in the outskirts of the forest. Started going to the marked places picking the rare herbs. Henry is also picking the herbs and pointing where is it. Henry realized that Momin and his companions cannot discern herbs and find the herbs like the goblins summoned from the horn, so she became the core of the group in picking the rare herbs. Do all strong adventurers can't identify herbs too? Henry then guided the group to every spot where the herbs grow according to the map given to her by the chief. Every time they strolled, Henry always ended up gazing behind the majestic back of Momin and cannot help but be happy that she's very useful on this quest. She felt safe when he's around. Unfortunately, they didn't get the right amount of herbs. Henry said that the village still has some stocks of the herb, but Momin refused. They already got all the herbs that are outside the forest, outside the domain of the wise king, which are safe to get. And then Momin said. Let's head inside the forest, Henry don't know. Not only Henry had exclaimed, the goblins too. Ani-san, that's dangerous, that's the territory of the wise king of the forest. One of the goblins informed. It's dangerous indeed. Henry heard myths about the wise king of the forest. The villagers like Henry herself respect him, because he is the reason that no beast and monsters got to the frontier village of Karne for almost 100 years. Ironically, humans are the ones to almost destroy the village. Anyway, the goblins somehow started calling Momin, Ani-san. Henry is thinking about how did they get close, she also wants to be close with Momin. Momin then replied to Jugum, I know. Henry could attest that that's the coolest reply she had ever heard. Momin-sama is so fearless. But Ani-san. We knew you're strong, but for the sake of An-sa. It's fine, Jugum. The goblins are shocked, but also Henry herself is shocked. For her to say such an irrational thing. The answer that came from Henry's mouth also confused the hell out of her. To think he trusting Momin too much that she'll say, yeah, let's go to the wise king's domain that might have the power to kill us in one shot. It's fine. Let's just be fast. If the beast came, we'll hold them and you'll run with Henry Dono. Okay, if the beast is strong. Apologies, we need Henry Dono after all to identify the herbs. Momin added. Momin-sama cares for me. Henry then saw the calm expressions of Gina and Nabe. Nabe is even muttering things like, Momin-sama would not lose to a mere beast. And so on. I see. An-san also wanted to. Ha, then that's the deal, Ani-san. The goblin leader reluctantly said in defeat. Rest assured, Jugum-san, we are strong. I am confident that we can at least hold the beast. Rest assured, Sue Goblin-sans. We're strong, Sue. Gina chimed in. So Henry Dono, if Jugum-san decided to retreat, please go with him, okay? Momin said to her. Why yes. Henry replied with a flushed face. The only thing occupying her head is that Momin cares for her. And with Momin in the front. They stepped inside the wise king's territory. Everyone is on full alert as they walked cautiously inside the forest. Large trees are everywhere, there is only a little bit of sunlight that could peek inside the forest. The dense forest is unbelievably calm with no animals present, but distant sounds of birdsong could be heard. There. Henry pointed at one place as she identified a herb they are looking for from a distance. Momon nods to them and everyone got into their positions. Momon and his companions and the goblins circled Henry. "An-san, we'll guard you." Henry replied affirmative and started picking the herbs with 3 goblins helping her. After getting the rare herbs they started moving again. Going deeper and deeper into the forest. They found herbs. Pick it up. And move again. They repeated this cycle 2 more times and they finally collected the right amount. Henry sighed in relief because finally, they will come back now. Henry said, "Let's go back now, Momon-sama." On which the Black Knight nodded. They start heading back now with the same caution and alertness as they entered. They make their pace quicker but not enough to alert anyone. But then, has our guest arrived? Nabe suddenly said, but she seemed to be not looking for an answer. Henry herself doesn't know what Nabe's words meant but there seemed to be a disturbance in the forest. They felt that something is coming. It's a big one but also very fast. Something's incoming, Momon said and everyone tensed up. Clang. A loud metal noise reverberated in the area that Henry instinctively closed her eyes, hoping that she can open her eyes one more time, alive. She slowly opened her eyes to see Momon blocking a long serpentine tail with green scales with his sword. And then the weird green thing slowly retreated behind a tree. A voice then echoed in the place. "How spectacular. To think thou could endure the blow of this one. Perhaps this is the first time this one hath encountered a foe possessed of such prowess." The voice, full of power and wisdom, entered the ears of Henry. Then it continued. "Then, O trespasser upon mine domain. Shouldst thou decides to quit, this one shall not pursue thy bunch in honor of thy magnificent defense. As expected. Momon-sama is strong. Show me your face, beast. Are you so insecure about your appearance that you have to hide behind a tree? Why Momon-sama is antagonizing the wise king of the forest? Henry is confused. What a wild tongue thou hast, O trespasser. Now behold this one's mighty form. Stare with eyes wide and tongue-tied, and tremble in dread and awe." The wise king of the forest slowly emerged from the trees, revealing its body. That's the wise king of the forest. Henry is scared but the reason she hasn't fainted right now is that she felt safe around Momon. Just like the stories, his voice is full of power and wisdom. Henry thought about the wise king. As you might expect, people of the New World are a bit off. Henry doesn't see this giant hamster as cute in any way right now, except for Momonga. Well, the fact it could wipe the whole village of Carne, this might be the right approach. Suddenly the goblin troop moved to action and carried Henry with the intent to retreat as fast as possible. What are you doing? We're so sorry An-san but we had to do this. One of the goblins replied. But. Henry is still trying to process the fact she's being evacuated. Is Momon-sama antagonizing the beast to buy us time? Henry's felt her heart ache. And the thought that this might be the last time he'll see him. As much as she wants to believe in Momon, the 200 years worth of knowledge about the wise king is no joke. Sadness seeped inside Henry, and tears welled up in her eyes. She just froze. Ani-san. We're going now. Jugum shouted as he guards the rear of the retreating goblins carrying Henry. Momon then turned his head in their direction and said as she was being carried away, "Don't worry." The only thing she could do is wept as she saw Momon and his companions, figures become tiny and tinier as the goblins carried her away. But then, I will let him know. She thought as she wiped her tears. Henry then forced herself and managed to shout, "I like you Momon-sama. Please come back safely. Your power stones really motivate me." Wah, I'm asleep. TheSimp creators' thoughts. 22 comments 0 vote. CH12, the Beast of the South 2. While Henry and the others are picking herbs I had message Aura and tasked her to send the beast in our way. She's probably done doing that. I thought. So the wise king of the forest is weak. Narbril then spoke but it's low enough so only we 3 could hear it. It is weak by Nazaric standards, but one of the strongest entities here in this world. Around level 30. Oh, impressive, Sue, Lupus Regina said. She's probably thinking that almost all the humans and monsters we have met are weaker than level 30. The strongest we had met is the warrior captain but he's weaker than this beast. Narbril, Gina, and I had handicapped ourselves to level 30 to 34 beings before coming to Erantel and it had stayed that well. Moments later, Henry said that we have collected the right amount. Let's go back now, Momon-sama. She's so happy when she said this. And so we started heading back now. Aura also messaged me that the beast will be coming any moment now. While strolling in the forest, I and my companions felt the incoming beast. We could even already feel the disturbance happening all over the forest. As if something big is coming. Has our guest arrived? Narbril said. We are the guest, Narbril. I thought, then. I felt the air moved and I immediately raised my bastard sword to block an incoming attack. Clang. A tremendous force hit my sword and a loud clang of metal hitting metal resounded in the already quiet forest. I saw a long, serpentine tail slowly retreated behind a tree. Then a feminine voice resounded in the area. How spectacular. To think thou could endure the blow of this one. Perhaps this is the first time this one hath encountered a foe possessed of such prowess. This little shit. I thought. Then, O trespasser upon mine domain. Shouldst thou decides to quit, this one shall not pursue thy bunch in honor of thy magnificent defense. It added. This hamster. I don't know, but something is annoying about this giant hamster. Ha, I should go with my script now. Show me your face, beast. Are you so insecure about your appearance that you have to hide behind a tree? I said, and immediately I could feel the goblins behind our backs started coordinating themselves. I think they are planning to evacuate with Henry now. What a wild tongue thou hast, O trespasser. Now behold this one's mighty form. Stare with eyes wide and tongue-tied, and tremble in dread and awe. The hamster replied. The dramatic show of the appearance of this beast is really something. I saw it and it resembles a giant Jungarian hamster with a long snake tail. 6 sigils. Her silvery fur. The moment I saw her appearance, I almost say, ah. This is a giant Jungarian hamster. So cute. That's the wise king of the forest, I heard Henry said. I could feel awe in her voice. Is it really that impressive? I mean, it's cute. I then stole a glance at both Narbril and Lupus Regina. They both have bored expressions. Lupus Regina even might doze off. The giant hamster is silently observing us as if sizing us up. I think it may be because of the commotion with Henry and her goblins. And then. Ani-san. We're going. Jugum suddenly shouted. I sensed them getting Henry to evacuate. Someone is crying. I then turned my head back and see them already retreating with Henry crying. What an adorable girl, she cares for me, huh? I thought before replying. Don't worry. The goblins then retreated and carried Henry away. I think Jugum, goblin leader, knew well that we could match the beast and he decided to carry her away because he doesn't want his master to be caught up in a battle. Yosh. Let me smack this giant ass hamster a bit before taming. This mere hamster dare flaunt his weak ass on me. I thought. Then something entered my ears. I like you, Momon-sama. Please come back safely. The loud shout came from the goblins' direction. I froze for a moment. I have very keen ears, and there's no mistake that is. That's Henry's voice. Foo, this one senses thy fear and alarm form beneath thine helmet. The hamster said smugly. Arg, this little shit. I thought. I do not know why I'm becoming annoyed, but this hamster is still cute though. A smile twisted the face of the magical beast, and it curled its long tail. There were strange glyphs and symbols on the silvery fur covering its body. It was about the size of a horse, but it was low to the ground, being larger in the horizontal rather than the vertical dimension. The wise king of the forest shrank the distance between them. Wise king of the forest, submit to me. I shouted to the beast. This is the last line of the script. Outrageous. This one hath lived for centuries as the ruler of this domain. This one hath offered thou with grace, but now let us end this. The giant hamster seemed to be pissed now. O trespasser who hath profaned mine domain, offer thy life as this one's sustenance. The beast added. Nabe, Gina. Fall back. I ordered. I want this beast to submit to me, but with me just using this level 30 plus handicap. Yes, Sue. Do your best, hamster, San. Sue. Lupus Regina said before backing off, still on her adventurer persona. While Narbril had a look of absolute confidence as she bowed deeply and then retreated to a corner of the clearing. Oh, but know thou that being outnumbered is no handicap for this one. I can't do something as embarrassing as fighting a weak beast 3-on-1. The wise king of the forest then lowered its body and tensed its entire body. Regret not thy decision. Now bear the charge of this one. The hamster shouted, and then she charges. The hamster then forcefully kicked off the earth and lunged at me so fast, but that's for the New World standard. But, not fast enough. For me. The flying tackle of the beast's massive body would have eaten anything weaker than level 30 away, but they could still survive it with the use of martial arts or some high-tier spells. I threw my sword on the side and took the wise king of forests charged head-on, trying to wrestle with strength alone. Remember that my overall abilities are handicapped at level 30 plus now. Moo. The sound came from the giant hamster, who was probably frustrated that she can't even push me from the ground I stood on. The giant hamster then decided to use its sharp claws and started ferociously slash at me. Whoosh. I dodged it with my practiced movements. The beast then continued its fierce slashings. It's my turn now, I said after dodging every attack that has been thrown at me. I rounded up my fist that is wearing a gauntlet and threw a right straight heavy punch at the beast body center belly, where the magical glyphs are. The cracking of a tree could be heard. A heavy punch from a roughly level 35 warrior connected the beast's body, sending her flying to the tree that immediately broke the moment her body hits it. Arg, despicable. Take this. Blindness. One of the glyphs glowed on her body, but I resisted the spell she cast like nothing. Charmed species. Then another glyph glows in her body again, but I resisted the mere 4th tier spell as well. There were spellcasting monsters in Yggdrasil. While the numbers of spells they could use varied greatly according to their level and species, as a rough guideline, they could use about 8 kinds of magic. Similarly, the wise king of the forest had roughly 8 kinds of tattoos on its body. The beast did not notice its spell had been resisted by me. Even in this handicapped form, it is enough to resist it, and stood and charged again with its forepaws. We both went back and forth, neither side being able to strike a decisive blow. We continued fighting in the clearing and I didn't budge a bit. I want this hamster to submit to me using a level 30 handicap form of my seraph form. Yes, before the fight starts, I switched to my humanoid form because I felt more comfortable in this form and I also want to tame it while handicapped. And so I continued pushing to my advantage. I had trained my martial arts, not martial arts of the New World but the fighting styles, with Sebas in Nazarick. One of these techniques is boxing and I learned boxing a bit from him. Surprisingly, I learned it quickly. But I also learned other hand-to-hand combat skills from him. Anyway, I continued doing my dodges from her claws and counter-attacking with jabs and occasional heavy punches. Left hook, right hook, left uppercut, and so on. The beast then lowered its body and I immediately recognized it. She's going to use her tail. The tail strike at the beginning had come from a long distance away. In other words, I was still in the range of the tail attack. As expected, the tail swung in a huge, sweeping arc, speeding at me with its surprising length. I easily dodged the sweeping tail attack. I need to close my distance, I thought. I can't let her keep using that tail nor be hit by it. So far I have not been hit even a single time because I had dodged it all, except for taking the charge head-on, but I doubt being able to dodge the tail in this level 30 handicap. It's faster than me on this handicap. Impressive. Now is the first time I have moved from my position because since earlier I have been holding my ground without moving. I closed my distance while she's still retracting her tail, and overall still unready. I went in front of her and hammer-fisted her head with my right hand. I bonked her head. Ouch. That is considered a blunt damage, right? I thought. Submit to me, beast. I shouted at her again, as she retreated from me. This one will not yield to thee, she replied while massaging where I bonked her with teary-eyed. Then, I'll make you submit, I shouted back before forcefully the ground and lunged on her at full speed. Dash 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 dash. That's enough, I said in a cold voice as I pointed my right hand to the giant hamster. Despair or V. I activated a skill. I returned to my Overlord form because this skill is only available to my undead form. Since its instant death effect was too strong, I reduced its potency and instead activated Despair Aura I's Fear effect. A cold, soul-chilling vapor gusted out from my right hand. The moment that massive cold air washed over the wise king of the forest, every single one of its hairs stood on end, and it rolled over with surprising speed. All I could see now was its silvery fur, and its soft, defenseless belly. Triple A. This one yields to thee. Ha, I should have done this earlier. We've been fighting back and forth for 6 minutes straight and it became boring for me and I realized how cringy it must be for Lupus Regina and Narbril that I'm fighting this fluff monster for that long. As expected of Momon-sama. A mere beast won't have a chance, Narbril said as she walked towards me with a smug expression. Amazing fight, Sue, Momin-san. Lupus Regina comes after Narbril. I then face the giant hamster. My true name is Momonga. If you are willing to serve me, I will spare your life, beast. Thank you very much. This one shall offer absolute fealty to thee for the gift of this one's life. The life of the wise king of the forest shall be an offering to the great warrior, Momonga-sama. The giant hamster jumped up and was frantically pledging its loyalty to me. Now. Let's get back to the village. Remember to not call me by my original name there. This one shall follow my lord command. The author is literally dying in starvation. Press, vote Power Stone, to force him to write. TheSimp creator's thoughts. 15 comments 0 vote. CH13, Maiden's Love 1. After taming the beast, I named it Hamsuk because why not, it sounds cute, and after that, we started heading back to the village and also. Henry likes me. I don't recall doing anything like flirting and that stuff. I am just surprised that the girl likes me. Compared to the Nazarick NPCs, her love is something that I did not input. I came to this world with people that have over 100 affection points for me. Well, they even worship me and will do anything I say, which is scary, to the point that I need to be very careful with my words because it might result in mass asterisk side or asterisk side. Scary. Now about Henry, I mean she's cute. The novel described her as a plain village girl, but come on man, what I saw is a beautiful adorable girl, or maybe I have a very ignorant eye. Anyway, while I'd not focus on appearances even in my former life, I could say that she's beautiful, but since I'm an albedo simp, albedo is inhumanely beautiful for me. I mean she's a succubus, after all, that might be part of her features. I am not actively finding a relationship right now, while I had already accepted that sometime in the future that I need to face albedo and Shaltier's advances, which is starting to show these days. Henry's infatuation is so out of my expectation, I never did anticipate it to happen, nor do I actively seeking for Henry's love. I decided to give her the 2 horns of the Goblin General because I do think she has talent and commanding abilities, and it just felt right. I feel like recreating the scene when she summoned 5,000 goblins. And who is it again? Oh, Enfira, she's her future husband according to the novel. Meh, he's probably an item by now. The image of an H protagonist appeared in my mind. That guy with a yellow and a bowl-cut hair. I'm sure that man is being used to an event that is about to happen in Irantel these coming days. Who cares about Enfira anyway? I thought. Henry Emmett deserved better than to marry that yee-ass H protagonist. Why am I calling him that? Well, because his eyes are always covered by his bowl cut. But he's a genius alchemist and pharmacist though. Meh, I'll make him an elder lich or something. I thought. The guy is indeed a genius, but he's lucky that Ains does not want to kill him, even though he found out very crucial information about him being both Momin and Ains Ulgaun. But the thing is, I am not Ains. I'll somehow find a way to make use of his dead body. I guess I'll throw it in the cat's plains, and if lucky, it will naturally turn into a skeleton mage, or if very lucky, an elder lich. I'll use Undead Dominate skill on him and make him research about alchemy and make potions for Nazarick. The reason for this long procedure is because if any of Nazarick's strong undead or me decided to transform a person from the new world into an intellectual high-level undead, it will not have the ability to grow. I mean by the word, grow, is being able to level up. The many creatures of Nazarick cannot level up, a very sad natural order of things. Only naturally spawn undead of this world grows, and I still want the would-be undead Enfira to retain the talents of being a genius alchemist and pharmacist. That's why Enfira's dead body needs to be thrown to places with high negative energy. I'm so big brain. I thought so proudly. And then something came to my mind. I'll just accept Henry then. I thought, and immediately the Suzuki Satoru part of my brain had been alarmed and telling me that this is unknown territory. Suzuki Satoru, the previous owner of this body, has never been in a relationship before, that's why. I shook that thought out of my mind. Who cares about Satoru? I've been in a few relationships in my former life. But the thing is, a harem. I don't know how to handle that. Reality is not like those fantasy harems fictions after all. It's not like I could keep them in line with my dick like those fanfictions, but it would be extremely helpful if it is like that. Never mind, I'll think about this later. We are currently finding our way back to the outskirts of the forest. The newly tamed magical beast that I had named, Hamsuk, is following us. Hamsuk, I called the beast name. On which she immediately replied with a loud, yes. My lord. Is there someone in the forest as strong as you? Thy servant had not left his domain, that is already yours, no one could match this one might in this place. Only thee, my lord. As expected, I thought. The wise king of the forest doesn't know that two more entities could match her in terms of level in the great forest of Tob. These are the demon snake of the west and the giant of the east. I would probably conquer those parts personally in the future. Momon-sama, could this servant speak her mind? Narbril pulled me from my thoughts. I did brief her to speak her mind when I'm discussing the infiltration of Erantel. I told that there's no need for this, but whatever. What is it, Narbril? I still don't understand why Momonga-sama would choose such a weakling for a pet. Nazarick has a strong beast that is available. Narbril said. This hamster is better to serve as food for those hungry in the lower echelons of Nazarick. Her sister, Lupus Regina, added as they moved their gaze to Hamsuk, who was uncontrollably shaking in fear with her hair standing high. Hamsuk is weak indeed, but strong in this world. And her reputation alone as the wise king of the forest will make our team famous. And bringing beast from Nazarick will alert the native of this world. Our forces are just that strong, I added. As expected of Momonga-sama. Both of them replied along these lines. But it's not like I want to reveal Hamsuk this early, I'll leave her somewhere for now. It will be extremely suspicious if my reputation got high fast. I'm not even a week-old adventurer. I plan to let my presence known in a battle where many will witness a bit of my power. Now that I think about it, we are preparing for the biggest operation after Operation Blackout. And here I am fighting a hamster, leaving all my paperwork to Albedo, Demiurge, and Pandora's actor and the 50 overlords. I thought embarrassingly. Hamsuk then said. Thank you, my lord. This one shall serve thee loyally for the rest of this one's life. She declared. Good. We then continued strolling and finally reached the outskirts of the forest. We then continued our way to the village of Karne. We reached the gate and a large group of villagers, inhabitants, most are adults and goblins, gathered close to the gate, looked in our direction with wide eyes. They are probably shocked by Hamsuk. I thought. But then. This girl. But not all of them are adults. I saw a certain girl is there, and the moment she saw our group, her red eyes that could only result after crying widened. She fastly ran towards us, or to be accurate, towards me. She reached our position and immediately hugged me. I am taller than her, so I got my one knee on the ground and hugged her too. Momon-sama. Why, you're alive. The girl is Enri Emmett. She said that as she hugged me with tears flowing from her eyes. I'm back and safe. Enri. Erantel. Woo, he exhaled. He had just finished assisting his grandmother in concocting blue healing potions. He is Enfire bearer. He is a young boy with short, bowl-cut blonde hair that covers half his face. His work clothes are now covered with various chemicals that are the results of working. Blue potions are the basic healing potions in the New World. The price of a standard recovery potion goes around about 1 gold coin and 10 silver coins. Though the inhabitants of the New World find them high-priced items, they appear to be quite inferior to the standard of Yggdrasil potions. Unlike Yggdrasil potions, these potions can deteriorate with age unless preservation magic is cast on them for longer shelf life. It has the appearance of having blue liquid in it. Good job, Enfira. His grandmother said. Lizzie Bearer is the name of his grandmother, an elderly woman with a face full of wrinkles and pure white, shoulder-length hair. He and her grandmother also share the same blue eyes. She is also renowned throughout the city of Erantel, holding the title of being the city's best pharmacist. His grandmother raised him after his parents died, and he also became her apprentice, and she taught him everything she knew about herbs, alchemy, and potion making. Anyway, they just had finished the day, they are both hard-working to the point they didn't realize the sun is already down. Ah, 3 days left and I'm going to see Henry again. Happiness welled inside Enfira. He can't wait to deliver potions to some villages outside Irantel, especially the village of Karne. He can't wait to see his crush again. Moments later, he remembered that it is already night and their bellies are still empty. Grandma, I'll prepare food for both of us now. Okay. Please do, Enfira. His grandmother replied as she sat in one of the chairs to rest. This shop is also where they create potions and also their home. Enfira then walked out of the alchemy room. And then someone knocked on their door. It's already night and we're already closed. Enfira thought. He's pretty sure that he had already closed their shop. Enfira is on the way to the kitchen to prepare food for both his grandma and himself but then decided to go check the door. There seemed to be a sinister feeling around the air but he didn't mind it. Enfira is no adventurer after all and didn't have a lot of experience in battles, that's why his sixth sense is not developed yet. Hello, the moment he opened the door he saw a woman around 20 years old, with short blonde hair and delicate features, giving her a cat-like appearance. She is wearing a black cloak. Hey, I came to kidnap you, I need someone to use the spell which summons a big horde of undeath army, so could you be my magic item? Oni-chan's begging you. Contrary to the playful tone, it sent chills to Enfira's spine and his senses are telling him to run. Nfira, get down. Lightning. Enfira lowered his head and immediately rolled back after hearing his grandma's shout. The sound of thunder could be heard after her grandma casts the third-tier spell. Clementine, what are you doing? Fast. Get the boy. An angered voice that probably came from an old man could be heard. Geez, you're no fun, Kajiat-san, the young woman named Clementine replied with no injuries or anything. The third-tier spell didn't even graze her. Acid arrow. While they are talking, her grandmother casts a second-tier spell on the young woman's direction but then a shield came out to immediately block it. It's another man, he looked like an adventurer, but he's not. He's a worker. Enfira turned his back from the woman and headed behind his grandma. And cast reinforce armor to himself and readied himself for casting more offensive spells. Multiple armed men could be seen starting to come. Madam. The city guards are coming. One of the workers said. Tisk. Fine. This is getting annoying. I'll take that old woman's head ability boost. Wah, thanks for the power stones. TheSimp creators' thoughts. 26 comments, 0 vote. Download the app for greater interaction. You can chat with me about my writing experience apart from the comments section. TheSimp. Download app now. CH14, Maidens Love 2. The goblins ran with all their might while carrying Henry. They could already hear the sound of battle as they ran. This is no illusion, but the forest seems to shake and vibrate as the battle continued. Henry already could not see the forms of those adventurers who sacrificed their lives for her, especially the glorious form of Momin. Her maiden heart seemed to have been pierced with something. The silly naive thoughts that occupied her mind for the rest of the days are now shattered by the harsh reality of life. It's a defense mechanism after having that tragedy befell her village. The existence of her sister and Momin are the things that made it going for her, it's like an escape from reality. But now, one of them might disappear. I will see Momin again, right? Tears welled up in her eyes again, this is the harsh reality, and she cannot escape from it. There are many scary things in the world that a mere villager like Henry will never know. Their group then reached the outskirts of the forest but the goblins still didn't put her down and ran towards the village gate. They finally reached the village and let go of Henry. The goblins are so tired that they are already laying on the earth. The villagers of course saw this and can't help but worry. The villagers gathered around Henry's group and then the chief came moments later. There are things they notice first. Henry is crying and their saviors are nowhere to be seen, which worries them more. What happened? The village chief asked. Ha. Anisant Momin and his companions serve as our rearguard when the wise king of the forest came. Jugum said. Henry immediately realized what does it mean and can't help but cry out more. If she just convinced Momin to not enter the forest nor she accepted to enter it, this wouldn't happen in the first place. This is my fault. She thought. The chief's expression changes so many times as if he could not process what just happened. Why you all entered the domain of the wise king? Why yes village chief, I'm sorry I can't street, Henry replied as she wiped her tears off now. Moments of silence passed by, it felt like an eternity for Henry. Then. No, En-chan, it isn't your fault. And look there. The village chief said with a gentle smile as he pointed behind something behind her. The other villagers on the other hand have their eyes whole wide opened as they stared towards the direction where the chief pointed. Henry slowly turned her head towards the gate and what immediately entered her vision is the sight of a full-plated black knight. Indescribable feelings welled up inside her, she only looked towards one person. She didn't even bother to turn her eye to the massive beast behind their backs. Moment. She then ran towards his direction, and her own feet seemed to be running on their own. She didn't know why but she just wants to feel him and hug him to confirm if he is real. She finally reached his place and the knight fell onto one knee. He opened his arms as if he's waiting for his wife's hug after months of not being home. She hugged him. Even though he is inside the cold armor, she could feel his warmth as he hugs her back. Moment-sama. Why you're alive? She doesn't need an answer because she already knew it herself. But he replied. I'm back and safe. Henry. Moment's words bring calmness to the maiden's heart that is full of worry. Henry is relieved to find that the man she likes is fine, then. Moment holds her chin and used a white handkerchief to gently wipe her wet eyes. Beautiful girls like you shouldn't cry. She could feel like he's smiling gently under the helmet. After wiping her eyes with care Moment then said. Anyway, that's a nice confession you got there earlier. Henry's face immediately became flushed after hearing what he said. Of course, that's embarrassing now that she remembered what she had just done and she can't help but scream in her heart, why are telling me about it right now? But what came out from his mouth next will shock her to the core. Of course, I like you too Henry. The world for her seemed to stop the moment she heard that. Henry's brain is short-circuited if you will. Me. Wawa, Moment-sama. Moment then removed his helmet and looked her straight to the eyes with his golden pupils. His handsome face and short black hair are now available for everyone to see. Nei-san. Moment-sama said he likes you. A familiar voice entered Henry's ears. Henry then turned her vision behind her, to see the villages now surrounding them with the goblins, who are just dying trying to inhale some air earlier ago. Everyone is smiling, except for a certain two people. The village people's faces are like those parents when they saw their daughter found their significant other or, the right man, as they say. Her gazes then landed on the goblins, they have very proud expressions and muttering things like, An-san did it. As expected of An-san. And so on. She then turned to look to Moment, and then get surprised by the massive fur behind him. The wise king. Henry just noticed the famous magical beast of the legends. The people around them also got startled after hearing her. This one is once called the wise king of the forest, but now this one is Hamsuk, a loyal servant of Moment-sama. The magical beast said proudly. Yeah right, I managed to made it submit to me, Moment added. Not only Henry but the entire village goes, ooh. In awe. To think our savior managed to make one of the beasts of legends to submit to him. As expected of Moment-sama. Moment-sama you're amazing. The villagers voiced their opinions about their savior. Moment just smiled and turned his look to Henry. Henry who's still processing him defeating the wise king of the forest immediately blushed just from his gaze. Henry. Why yes. Moment-sama. Henry replied in a panic to his call. Did you remember what I just said earlier? He asked. Yes. Had Moment-sama like, Henry's eyes widened as she realized it. Henry got her mind occupied with a magical beast named Hamsuk. Completely turns off again for a few seconds. Moment then embraced her again but now without his helmet on, and said close to her ear, yes. That's right. I like Henry. Henry's face turned red again, she felt like she might faint right now. Moment-sama likes me. Henry still can't believe it but since Moment said it 2 times already. Then it's true. She could even feel the envious gazes of 2 people but she didn't mind it and continued enjoying Moment's embrace. I am happy for you Henry, I'm sure your parents must have been relieved for their daughter to be with someone strong like Moment Dono. The village chief said. Please take care of her Moment Dono. The village chief added which made Henry happy and embarrassed. The goblin troop then walked towards Moment. The one leading them is Jugum. Ani-san, please take care of An-san. Jugum. Of course. Moment replied as he smiled which made her blush more. Then Jugum spoke. And we're sorry An-san. We already knew that Ani-san will be fine. Jugum said with a not really sorry face. What? Yes, Henry. Jugum already told us that Momondono's group will be fine. The village chief said, followed by the villagers and goblins sharing a loud hearty laugh. You guys too. Henry doesn't know anymore. It felt like she just got thrown under the bus. Well, at least something the same to that phrase. Since buses do not exist in the new world, she instantly became dejected. Don't be like that to Henry. Momon said as he chuckled. His words that entered her heart immediately made the dispirited Henry fully charged in an instant. Then her sister, Nemu, came close and said to Momon, "Can I call you Oni-san?" "Sure. Then I have a question, Oni-san." Will you marry Oni-san now?" Momon froze after hearing Nemu's question as if he just remembered something. Marry. Momon-sama. While Henry on the other hand immediately imagined him and marrying Momon, and immediately blushes again. Unknown to Henry, all the people around could already feel two certain people's scary auras. Cough, I remembered that I have something to do. Let's leave Henry here, she's in marriageable age after all. The village chief said with the other villagers nodding and others saying they have something to do, etc., and walked out. Why yay, I remembered that we need to hunt animals for the village. Yeah. Jugum said as he grabs Nemu, who is confused why she is getting dragged away from the place with his fellow goblins. Leaving a blushing village girl in his night in the open close to the gate of the village. Of course, Nabe, Gina, and the beast of the legends are still there. Rantel. Later that night in the fortress city of Rantel. To be specific, the cemetery. Rantel has a huge cemetery. It was a place for the living to bury and mourn the dead. This was due to the result of countless human lives who have died on the battlefield at the Cat's Plains between the Re-Estais Kingdom and the Baharuth Empire. Even in times of war, the two nations would commonly agree together to hold a ceremony here to mourn those who died. The burial ground is encased within walls in the outer district of the city. This wall served as the boundary line between the living and dead. While it was only 4 meters tall and could not compare to the city walls, it was wide enough for people to walk on top of it. The large doors set into its side were sturdy and could not be easily breached. There were staircases to the left and right of the doors, and watchtowers along the length of the wall. There would usually be guards who took turns observing the graveyard, in shifts of 5 men at a time. Taking up to 1/4 of the external wall, almost the entire western wall was used to segregate the cemetery from the rest of the city. The huge cemetery was separated into 4 parts, north, south, east, and west, by partitions. The partitions were imbued with holy magic, so if a large mass of undead surfaced, the sections would close in on them, allowing each individual to easily fend off the undead. There were also shelters in each section which can be used as an escape route in times of emergency. According to the guarding cleric, the eastern section of the graveyard was being dug up. The graveyard was lined with sconces enchanted with continual light spells, so there was ample illumination shining upon the darkest hours despite it being nighttime. Still, there were many shadowy places along the way, and visibility was even worse in those places blocked by tombstones. But now. You undead. Lots of them. What the hell is going on? The guards stationed now are shouting in panic as they saw the amassing of the undead. One of them is upstairs in the wall and is looking down there, and he could only see an ocean of skeletons. There is other undead, but the number of skeletons is numbered up to thousands and still adding up. Then the guard saw an over 4 meters tall and made out of countless corpses. It's a necroswarm giant. Their faces turned pale. They can't possibly hold the wall and gate. There's just no way. They already sent one of them to inform the people in the higher ups and especially the Adventurers Guild. While they contemplate if they should run or not, the undead finally reached the gate in the wall. They could hear banging sounds as the undead tried to breach the other side, full of hatred against the living. There are also adventurers and guards patrolling inside the cemetery, but they could not even think about them now, they might even be dead. Come on lads. Man the wall. The shout of their squad leader pulled them from their thoughts, and they have immediately gone upstairs to man the walls and started fending off the undead. The undead climb with each other desperately, bearing their hatred against the living. The station guards desperately pushed them off with their spears and used maces to shoo them off. Skeletons are immune to piercing damage, so the spears work like pushing sticks there. Squad leader. We can't hold it, one of the guards said, but his words got cut off as one of the guards got pulled down by the undead from the wall. The squad leader immediately realized their impending doom and started shouting, "Retreat!" as they ran downstairs and ran away from the cemetery as far as possible and got to the barracks and the Adventurer Guild. Then sounds of bells rang down all over the city. This is only done when there's an emergency. What came after that are hundreds of guards. There are the first responders who came. Then some few adventurers. Sounds of the bell rang out through the city the whole night. The Battle of Erantel has begun. To think PPL still spend their votes on this. Feels good, man. Thank you a lot. This is the last update for this week. I am so tired, I feel like the arbiters are calling me, wah. TheSimp creators' thoughts. 29 comments, 0 vote. CH15, decision. After that, Henry is still shy to Moment and somehow she ended up in the villager's chief house because she is called by the chief's wife. Henry, you know that Moment don't know, our savior already has 2 wives, right? A woman with an elderly appearance said to Henry. She is the village chief's wife. She must have looked beautiful in her younger days, but now she looked like a person who has been working on the farm for years. Gina-san and Nabe-san are Moment's wives, my husband had already told you, right? Why, yes. Henry nervously replied. The village chief's wife is right, since the first day. Henry already knows that Moment is married to the 2, which doesn't surprise her even a bit. Strong and wealthy people tend to have multiple spouses after all. And even with that, her affection for Moment didn't shake a bit, and still continued trying to pursue him. Henry is still a teen after all, and this is the first time she fell in love with someone. Like the saying goes, first crushes are the hardest to forget. Well, at least that's the case for someone like Henry. You see, Henry. Moment Dono's wives are strong, they are adventurers after all, and from what I am getting from them, they are sure hard to deal with. What are you gonna do if you only became a concubine? Let's face the reality, Henry. You're no adventurer like them and probably gonna mostly stay in the city. It's fine. What? It's fine. If it is the decision of Moment-sama. Henry. The elderly woman worriedly looked at Henry before sighing. Henry doesn't found it weird at all to only become a concubine of Moment. It's just normal like nobles do. Moment may not be a noble, but he's strong, managing to tame the wise king of the forest. Now. Prepare a dish for your husband, he's probably hungry after battling the wise king of the forest. The elderly said with her previous expression replaced with a gentle smile. She then bid her goodbye to the elderly woman and started to walk home where Moment and future co-wives are. She's excited to make her dish and to be praised by Moment again. Dash 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 dash. I am currently at Henry's home with Narbril and Lupus Regina, she's still shy to me after all that. I am now sitting on a wooden bench inside the house. My companions are just there and we never spoke since all of that stuff earlier, while Hamsuk is outside the house. Anyway, about Nemu's question earlier, it got me thinking. Since I have already done this, I'm sure that sooner or later that Albedo would hear about this and this will probably be brought up to my face with clear intentions. I am currently thinking about it. So many happened in a single day, I just came here to finish the hardest C-class quest and also tame Hamsuk and this happened. It's like trying to finish a single quest in a game but a side quest popped up and you got sucked into it. I am sitting without my armor now, because I had removed them earlier, and in my human form, of course. I wore the plainest clothing I can find in Nazarick, and what I got is a navy-colored medieval Renaissance loose-collar shirt. It's a middle-class item that Ains somehow got. It's plain for me but in this world, this is like a treasure. Then someone opened the door and a young woman entered my vision, it's Henry. You know, I realized something, it's like something awakened inside me, I can't pinpoint it. There's just something. I turned my gaze to Henry, who blushes immediately. She is still shy for some reason. Moment-sama, I'll cook. For our supper. Henry said while embarrassingly avoiding having eye contact with me. Something is flaring inside me when I saw this. As if I want to own something. I mean I am in humanoid form right now, but it's not lust, I'm sure. Yes. Thank you, Henry. There's no need to add, Sama. I replied. Yes. Moment saw. That's silly but fine too, I said with a chuckle and then gently smiled at Henry, who has a red face as she turned her back to me and head to the kitchen. Henry then finishes cooking her dishes, and the four of us proceed to eat. After that, we are now basically sitting in awkward silence as I suppress that something inside me. Henry then decided to break the silence as she walked and then stood in front of me. I'm still sitting in my chair. Since I'm taller than Henry, even with her standing, her head is still roughly on the same level as me. So we are now looking at each other's eyes. Moment. Henry opened her mouth but hesitated because she could already feel the dangerous gazes of the two. Nabe, Gina. I said. Why yes. The two panicky replied. This is the only time I'll say this. Henry will be your fellow wife too. Stop treating her like that, be kind to each other. I seriously stated. You understood, Sama. They both replied, even the cheery persona of Lupus Regina cannot be found. Then, Henry. After looking away from the two, I turned my eyes to Henry to only see her with tears in her eyes. I'm weak, and cannot join you in your adventures, that's why I'm fine to be Sama's concubine. She said as she wiped her falling tears. And that's the final straw. Something awakened inside. That's it. I want Henry to be mine. I won't give her to that protagonist with ass bowl haircut. Albedo and Shaltir, they're mine. The Pleiades, they're mine. The 41 homunculus maids. Mine. All the female characters that I can only read in this book before. They are all mine. 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 Before I know it, I already held Henry in her chin. Henry, you're going to be my wife, that's final, okay. Why yes, Henry replied, and then I gently pressed my lips to her. I lined up her lower lips between mine and continued guiding her as I held her chin to my liking. I gave soft kisses, a few deep smooches, and then invaded her mouth and danced with her tongue. It lasted for 10 seconds before I let go of her. Henry could be audibly heard breathing for air. As Narbril and Lupus Regina sat there the whole time and just watched the whole scene with a tinge of pink in their cheeks. Do you understand now, Henry? I said as I let go of Henry. Why yes. Now, thank you for the food, my love. We're going to be in the vacant house the chief lent to us. You need to take care of your little sister for now. She needs you. I stood up, Henry, who have a flushed face as if she is still processing what just had happened 1 minute ago. And we're still not married, you know. I lowered my head and said that, whisper that to her ear. She bashfully ignored me but still continued burying her head to my chest and hugging me. Moments later, she finally let go. Rest properly, Nabe Sama, Gina Sama, and Moment saw. So cute. I thought, and I can't help but press my lips again to Henry's. Leaving her dazed, as I left her there. I then also ordered Hamsook to serve and protect Henry loyally like how she would serve me even if it causes her life. Of course, I ordered 2 of our 5 level 80 plus Hanzos that are assigned to us to protect Henry at all costs. And so we continued walking until we reached and entered the vacant house. I just need to go back to Nazarick and already knew what to do. Both Narbril and Lupus Regina immediately fell to one knee and bowed their heads deeply behind me the moment the door closed. We're deeply sorry, Momonga-sama. Both of them said while their heads down. For what? I said as sneak a glance behind me to see the two of them genuflecting. F for treating Henry-sama. Lupus Regina said. I see. Before that, raise your heads. I said as I turned to face them. They immediately raised their head at the same time. I forgive both of you, but don't let me repeat that. Yes. Both replied. Let's head back to Nazarick now. Narbril. They both stood up and Narbril produced a gate scroll in her hand. She pulled it out from her inventory and cast it. A sphere then appeared. It is the spell. It summons a portal, allowing the travel of a large number of people over great distances. It had no limits on distance and a 0% chance of teleport mishaps. It is considered to be the highest tier of teleportation magic. We entered it and immediately arrived at the log cabin outside Nazarick where we leave the ring of Ainzul Gown. Shizu is assigned for the day. I got the ring and wear it. I am also wearing the academic robes of my Overlord form, but I am still in my Seraph form now. The black hair when I am acting as Momon is nowhere to found, instead, it is replaced with my original long silver hair. I have not worn a shirt. Typically when I am in my skeleton form, my chest is exposed and my stomach could be seen a bit, but now my manly chest and the abs that I am so proud of could be seen. Now I wore the ring, I can teleport anywhere in Nazarick, and so I cast greater teleportation since I am outside and the scene changed to a room I am very familiar with, my office. Normally greater teleportation will be stopped by the Nazarick defense system, but since I have the ring of Ain's Ul gown, I got through. That's the reason too why I or anyone who possessed the divine rings need to leave it there in the log cabin before venturing to the world. The moment I appeared, Albedo and one homunculus made assigned to me today are already genuflecting with their heads deeply. Welcome home, Momonga-sama. Albedo said. Raise your heads. It's good to be back, Albedo. I said to Albedo and she blushed for a split second before resuming her serious expression. What's the status of Erantel right now? I added. The culprits are still preparing to cast the spell Undead Army, but they may begin after an hour. Good, are the preparations done? I don't want that human girl and those members of that organization to escape our grasp. Preparations are done, Momonga-sama. Nazarick's forces already surrounded the human city. I don't want any of those Zuranorn guys to get out. The plan is to let that Kajiat guy have enough negative energy to turn himself into an Elder Lich. I do know the Blue Roses would show up. This is also part of the greater plan of conquering this world. This is the real deal now and we can't afford to lose the opportunity. I want to conquer this world without alerting the inhabitants that I, a god, or player, had already arrived. As much as possible I do not want to attract the true Dragon Lord's attention or anything that strong. I also realized that my greed is on full throttle now. My mind wanted to own this world, the women, the treasures. Everything is mine. Even if I turned myself into my undead form, the greed won't go. There's no point now. Nazarick is important to me, and I will do everything to preserve it. This continent is big and I need to be ready and bolster our forces, to conquer the many nations, further our technology, and so on. Speaking of bolstering our forces. Albedo. Get Shaltier, and go together to my chambers. Since the book reached 400 plus power stones, I'm releasing this as an extra chapter for this week. Thank you everyone. TheSimp creators' thoughts. 44 comments, 0 vote. CH16, Holy R18. Yes. My beloved Momonga. Albedo replied before strolling out in my office. She said it without, Sama. Ha. My sigh is the only sound that could be heard in the room. Only the maid and a few 8-edge assassins left here. I relaxed my body and sank my back to my comfy chair, and closed my eyes. I am calming my raging little one now to buy time, who became like this because of Henry. It's like I drank 3 Viagras. It just won't settle down. This is the lust negative trait on the work. Greed and lust are best friends, huh? They are mind-fucking my head now. The greed negative effect who have been in deep slumber for the past days just recently awakened the moment I accepted Henry's love, as if that's the secret code to make me a dick-thinking fanfiction protagonist. I am just convincing myself right now that I did not do a booty call to the 2 guardians and this is for the future of Nazarick. I am just horny. I chuckled inside my head. As possible, I don't want to be a slave to my negative effects. Everything needs balance and self-control. I am glad I somehow managed to think about the future before I lost control of myself. The reason I called the 2 to my chambers at the same time is to eliminate future problems. And since I started a relationship with a human woman, if they hear about that, especially Albedo, then something awful is going to happen, I'm sure. It's better to solidify their position before they accept others to be part of the harem. I ain't risking myself for drama later. Fuck that. This is just for the future politics of my imperial harem. Yes. I convinced myself. While the word harem still cringed the living shit out of me, it's bound to happen now. And who doesn't want to have multiple beautiful women? Yeah, and be able to have sex with them. Aight, calm down both of you. Greed and lust, I need to think properly. I sighed again. Etoile, bring me some refreshment. I said to the maid assigned to me. Yes, Momonga-sama. She then proceeds to get a tray with a pitcher and a glass on it. She puts the tray on my desk and poured the contents into the glass. It's an orange-colored liquid. My nose instantly recognizes the smell. It's orange juice. I grab the cup and gulp the juice in one go. Yay, that's what I'm talking about. The tangy taste spread in my mouth. It's really a refreshment. I felt my head calm down a little. Thank you, I shall go to my chambers now, I said to the maid who nodded, and so I stood up from my chair and started walking to my room. I am in front of the door leading to my room now. Yosh. Okay, Lust, let's see what you got. Dash 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 dash. R-18 plus starts. I opened the door and what greeted me is the sight of two beautiful women, who I heard, are fighting for the position of head wife. Welcome Momonga-sama. Both of them said as they slightly bowed. They are both in close distance each other. I turned my gaze to the one that has the appearance of a teen girl with a very unusual buxom that didn't fit her stature at all. Shaltir Bloodfallen. Shaltir has pale shiny skin, seductive crimson red eyes, and a beautiful face. Her lustrous silver hair is tied in a ponytail. She's about 140 centimeters. She still wears that soft black evening dress with a big heavy skirt, making her look like an heiress of a very wealthy noble family. I then turned my eyes to the other woman beside her. She's taller than Shaltir by 30 centimeters. She has lustrous jet black hair. She also has two thick horns protruding crookedly on her head, and in her waist is a pair of black angel wings. Albedo. Albedo wears the same pure white dress with silky gloves covering her slender hands. I then continued looking at my wives, silently observing their beautiful appearances that always pleases my eyes. I then walked to the front of them. Say, Albedo and Shaltir, what do you think is the reason that I called both of you here? The two raised their heads and replied. To make love with Momonga-sama. Both of them answered at the same time. Both of them have a tinge of pink in their cheeks. And to decide who's the rightful head wife. Albedo added, and both of them stared daggers at each other. This is what I'm talking about. I need to solve this. Both of you are my wives already. Who told you this? I said. Albedo and Shaltir froze. Mo. From the look of their faces now, it's like they didn't know what to do. I smiled. Both of them saw my smile and became confused. Of course, I am kidding. I chuckled. I then walked behind them, put my left and right arms around their waist. Both of you are my wives. Right, I said. Why yes. Shaltir said, her previous pale face is now red. Shaltir is very adorable. If you read volume 11 of the light novel, you'll know what I mean. Both of you also smelled great. The smell of their perfume is not unpleasant to my nose, it's just about right. It's also making me hornier. Shaltir then became bashful, and Albedo is trembling. In excitement. I brought both of them to my luxurious king-sized bed. I let go of their waist and faced the two beauties. Both of you knew what we're going to do, yet you are still wearing your dresses. Yeah, especially Shaltir. The both of them blushed again before saying, apologies Momonga-sama. And immediately tried to start removing their wares, but I raised my hand. No. Let me, as your husband, undress his beautiful wives. They both stopped and nodded while blushing. I first faced Albedo. I can't read her expression, but I still proceeded to slowly and gently remove her golden necklace. Then her silky gloves. And before I remove her dress, I moved my face closer to hers. Her golden irises and vertically split pupils are staring into my eyes. We could feel each other's breath. It's also turning hot and I want to kiss her beautiful healthy lips. She's a woman, that shouldn't have existed, she's a work of fiction, but now this beautiful girl is in front of me, ready to offer her body to me. Albedo might have sensed my intentions. She closes her eyes and puckered up her lips. Chew. She looks like a teenager trying her first kiss. So cute. I then put one hand on the sides of her face and the other around her waist. I then pressed my lips to hers. I guided her and started slow soft, gentle kisses. Albedo is an amateur kisser, so I decided to lead her. After the slow soft, gentle kisses I started locking lips with her by putting her lower lips between mine. We continued kissing and Albedo is getting better and better at it. I then moved my hand around her body as we kiss and removed her dress, and then her pure white dress slowly fell on the floor. Her body is now open for me to see. And boy, I want to see it. I released her lips, and Albedo's head seemed to follow my mouth, longing for more. She then realized it, and bashfully retreated her head. She's also now only on her white panty while hiding her big breasts by crossing her arms, which makes it more erotic, arousing me more in the process. I moved my one hand from her waist to her buttocks and give it a quick squeeze. Ah! Albedo moaned. Her breaths are getting rougher bit by bit as time passes. Her hot sighs, her smell are all arousing every fiber of my being. Show it to me, Albedo. I said. Why yes. Albedo with a reddened face replied. She is even avoiding eye contact with me as she slowly removed her two arms that are trying to hide her buxom. Whoa. Eheem. They're beautiful, Albedo. I said as I stared intently at her H-cup breasts. This alone already blows my mind, and then I decided to hold her breast. Thank you, ah. Momonga, ah. Albedo moaned again and continued doing so. I used my other free hand to grab and fondle her right breast while my other hand is squeezing her ass with no reserve. She then moved her head to look at my face with those eyes of hers. It's a loving look, but also suggests that she's in heat, accompanied by her audible breathing. Damn it. I thought. Ah, Albedo, who is still moaning from fondling, is surprised when I suddenly kissed her. I can't help it, man. And so another session of kissing passes again, with occasional moans that escape her mouth as I continued fondling her beautiful breast and rear. Albedo and I somehow ended in the bed, and she's now under me when I decided to break our kiss again. I love you, Momonga. Albedo said to me with loving eyes. I love you too, Albedo. I said to her before sharing a soft kiss again. Give your husband a minute. I'll be back. I said before pecking her lips one more time. Yes, my dear. Albedo replied with a smile. I suppressed my lust because my little one is raging now, but I need to hold it. There's someone who did not get her kisses yet. I moved and sat on the edge of the bed and saw Shaltir breathing roughly with her hands are firmly holding the sides of her dress. She's probably stopping her urges. Judging the expression of hers. She's already really horny now. Come here, Shaltir. Shaltir walked to my front, with her reddened face. I am also on the edge now, and so I do not want to make this longer. I'm taller than Shaltir, and so even when sitting, I'm still taller than her. I then grabbed her close to me and pressed my lips to hers. Momonga Shama, And as expected, she knows how to kiss, and so I continued and go for longer kisses. She put both her arms around my neck as we kiss. While we're locking our lips, I first removed the big heavy skirt, which immediately exposed her cute red-colored panty. I broke our kiss, but her arms are still around my neck, and she opened her eyes and stared into my eyes with her crimson red eyes anxiously, thinking if she had done something wrong, which is cute. I then opened my mouth. You're already this wet, Shaltir. I said as I grin. Indeed, Shaltir panty is soaked already. Shaltir cutely turned her face to the right. She's being bashful now, but I use my free right hand to gently made her look at my face again. She didn't resist it, but she's blushing in embarrassment right now. We stared at each other for a few seconds, listening to each other's breath before pressing each other's lips again. She continued hanging her arms around my neck while we are locking our lips. Shaltir's perfume continued to assault my nose. Now that we're close to each other, it just turned me on more and more. I then pick her up and her fake buxom bounces. I pulled her onto my lap with her both legs around me, with our crotches close to each other. Shaltir continued locking lips with me as I removed her headwear and let her long lustrous silver hair be free until I started removing her upper dress. She broke our kiss and said shyly, apologies, Momonga-sama. Why is that? I don't want to disappoint you. She said flusteredly. Oh. It's about her fake buxom. I pecked Shaltir's lips and smiled. My wife can't possibly disappoint me. She blushes, and then I proceeded to remove her upper dress. Then numerous breast pads fell on the floor. That freaking Birdman lolicon. To think he will put on Shaltir's background that she's as flat as a boy, even though Shaltir is designed to have booba. They are not as big as Albedo's. She muttered. Shaltir's face is so red, like she's going to die in embarrassment. I love them, Shaltir. No need to put those pads. Be proud of your body that the creator had given you. Of course. I'm spouting a bit of BS, but I don't want her to be jealous of other people's bust sizes and would prefer if she's proud of her body. I love boobas, but I love beautiful asses more because I'm part of the TheSimp sect. And Shaltir has a fine ass. I then gently princess carried and moved my beautiful vampire beside my lovely succubus on the center of my king-sized bed. Oh my. I just stared at the holy sight in front of me. Two beauties just on their panties laying on my bed, staring at me with a heated look. Is this the time when the Eki protagonist's nose starts to bleed? But firstly, let's remove my clothes. I then removed my clothes and especially my academic robe straight to my inventory. The clothes that covered me instantly disappeared like removing one's equipment in an RPG game. Both Shaltir and Albedo blushed when they saw my now naked body. Well, what can I say, I am also enjoying the view here. Then their eyes slowly got to my crotch and the faces of the two become crimson red again. My shaft is standing proud because of these two. Then a thought popped into my head. I decided to lean my body to their center, close for their ears to hear what I'm going to say. It's so hard now because I wanted to fuck both of you, so badly. I raised my body back and observed their faces turned redder. Blushing women are so pleasing to the eye. I just love it seeing these type of reactions. Yosh. After being satisfied with that, I started preparing myself and produced a hairband to tie my long silver hair into a man bun. I finished tying my hair into a man bun, the two just watches me while laying on the bed with bright red faces. I smiled at them and leaned my body close to both of them. Fua, Momonga-sama. I started dropping kisses to Shaltier's lip, then turned my head to Albedo and did the same. I did this again and again to the two until I'm satisfied. As I looked into their bright red faces, I can see lust accompanied by their ragged breathing. You both are so beautiful. Ha, ha. Momonga-sama. Ha. I love you. I love you. I love you so much, Momonga. I can't help but start doing something other than kissing. NYA. Ah. Shaltier's body then trembled when I suddenly licked her exposed nipple, but she obediently didn't move much until I sucked it. Albedo's sensitive body on the other hand also reacted when I scooped up her abundant breast and massages it. Ah. Momonga-sama. Heart. NN. Dear. Shaltier, you came. I stopped sucking Shaltier's nipple because she trembled. Her panty became more soaked. She's so sensitive, I love it. If I remember right, almost every part of her body is an erogenous zone. I kissed the now opened mouth of a dazed Shaltier. I then shifted my attention to Albedo. I moved myself to be on top of her and firmly matched my eyes to her vertically slitted pupils. Your turn now, my love. Albedo's face flushed red. The reason why treating her like this is that because words that indicate her as my wife is her weak point. That's just how adorable she is. You may be asking why Albedo is not that horny beast from season 3 of the anime is because we're been in the new world in less than 9 days. Ains also touches Albedo's breast in the novel anime that gave Albedo thoughts that Ains like her, compared to me who did not do that, made her hesitate to do advances to me. And that famous scene where Albedo straddled Ains is the result of Ains ignoring Albedo's advances for 3 months. My Albedo here is still in her early phase, she just wants to be my wife. So cute. I then scoop up her abundant breasts with my 2 hands. 2 pure white mountains are now fully occupying my hands. I can't help but be astonished by it. I massage her breast up and down slowly. They're so beautiful, Albedo. T, that's yours, yours only. Ah. I continued to massage and caress her beautiful mountains gently, and sometimes put more power in my hand to give it a quick hard squeeze. While my hands continued massaging her breast, I leaned close to smile and say. For whom again? I didn't hear it. My body is yours. Only yours, Momonga. Ah. I started licking the tip of her white, soft breast as soon as I heard that. Between my lips is her light peach-colored nipple, I licked it, and softly bite it once in a while, which always makes her moan loudly. Ah. My husband loves my breasts. Ah. I moved to her another untouched nipple and did the same. I continued to knead her soft breasts while licking and softly biting her nipples, and then I proceed to look up her face and press my lips to hers. Both my hands are occupied kneading her beautiful white mounds as our lips continued overlapping. I inserted my tongue into her mouth and entangled with her tongue as she trembles. Momonga. Momonga. Ah. Heart. And so I release her mouth as her body trembled to experience orgasm. Her juices came from her crotch, making her white panty soaked. Ha. My beloved Momonga-sama, heart. Now the figure of Albedo with soaked panty could be seen accompanied by her ragged breaths. Truly a magnificent view. It still took time to make her come, but still, just by sucking and kneading her breast she came, but I am not done yet. This is the longest I have to hold my lust negative trait, and I tell you that it's like you're on edge the whole time. Forgive me, Albedo, I can't hold it anymore. Take me. My love. She said with open arms. I removed Albedo's soaked white panty and I saw her beautifully shaven pussy, because she just came. Her amazing succubus smell assaulted my nose, making me aroused more. Then I began to rub my shaft against her crotch, creating a lewd gushing sound before finally fitting my shaft into her pussy. I slowly entered her Her hole is tight, fleshy, and warm. I slowly continued until I hit a wall. Ah. Ah. I pushed my waist out with all my strength until the tip of cock reached the entrance of her womb. You. Albedo has a pained expression and I heard her anguished voice, but it just lasted a second while I felt like I'm going to explode inside her amazing meat hole. What the hell, is this a pussy? This is otherworldly. I do not remember meat holes being like this. Is this succubus pussy? My god, it's sucking my soul. And then my thoughts stopped when I see Albedo sobbing, covering her eyes with her hands. Are you okay? Did it hurt? No. I'm fine, my dear. Please continue. Yeah, it might hurt a level 100, like her, but it won't last long. She looked at me with a loving look and a genuinely happy smile. I can't help but caress her head and kiss her deeply. My wish finally came true, being one with you, Momonga, my love. She said as I caressed her cheek. Albedo with teary-eyed now has the expression of true happiness. Albedo. I began to move. I pulled my shaft out that is covered in proof of her maidenhood and thrust it back again with strength. Ah. She moaned loudly as I moved my raging cock in and out of her pussy. I continued assaulting her hole, with the moving of my hips getting faster and faster with the intention to ejaculate. Ah. NN. Ha. Ah, heart. I continued to poke the entrance of her womb. It felt really good. I repeatedly penetrated her. Her moans are getting louder and louder and I can see that she's getting pleasure now. Her previous tight insides are now starting to accept my cock. The change happened instantly that I thought I'm going to lose it. The pussy then became optimized to my cock, that I thought I just ascended there. As expected of a succubus pussy. Ah. Momonga, heart. NN. Momonga. Ah. Her succubus hole is making me crazy. I felt like a porn actor because I'm still not blowing my load even with such demonic pussy. My former self cannot last more than 5 seconds on this. It liked constantly sucking my cock desperate for cum, but I continued ramming her in missionary position as her beautiful white breasts jiggle wildly as I move my hips. Ah, heart. While I continued my hips, I leaned my body to suck one of her nipples. NN. Coming. I'm coming, heart. I'm also close, Albedo. Ah. Kiss my dear. Heart. Kiss. I could feel her pussy contracting. There's no way I can't stop my week worth of pent-up lust. After sucking her nipple, I pressed my lips to hers, and our tongue immediately entangles each other. Albedo is trying to suck my mouth as her pussy is getting tighter as I repeatedly thrust her. I can't hold it, Albedo. Momonga. Ah. Momonga. Heart, I love you. 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 Ah. Heart. The final thrust is the tip of my cock hitting the entrance of her womb as her insides trembled, with abrupt tightness inside her pussy. The pent-up lust accumulated this whole week exploded inside her innermost part. Ah. Momonga. I love you so much, heart. It was so good, Albedo. I love you too. It's Shaltyr's turn now, so take a rest, okay? I said to her as she tiredly nodded. Her black hair is now disheveled and so I move the hair covering her beautiful face and then I deeply kiss her before I pulled it out. Ah. Momonga's hot stuff. Heart. Goopuri *, the sound of liquids gushing out of her. It just continued coming out, her juices, my sperm, and some blood. That's a lot. I thought, looking at the spectacle. This is like when I bust a nut after NNN but make it 3x more. I then turn my head to another person in the room, Shaltyr, who is just laying there beside us. Her face now is crimson red. After she got back from her dazed state, the first things she saw are Albedo and me fucking. It turned her on. She just watches all of it unfold in front of her, forcing herself to not put her hands close to her crotch. She is even already breathing raggedly. She didn't touch her pussy or anything, but she's soaking. The bedsheet is also wet now. You enjoyed yourself, Shaltyr? No, Momonga-sama. I just blew my load, but my cock is still raging, and now that I see Shaltyr's embarrassed expression, it's like I just drank an energy boost. I pressed my lips to Shaltyr's lips, before making her go on for. I don't think you need foreplay anymore, look how soaked you are. And no. Kya. After making her go on for, I removed her cute soaked red panty. Her small pussy is so wet that I must investigate it closely. My face is close to her crotch that I can smell the exciting aroma coming from her vampire pussy. Every time I exhaled, she could feel it and trembles. I can't have hold of myself and still give it a lick. Nuu. Momanga Shama. After licking her pussy full of juices that made her tremble. She is now breathing raggedly. I then grab her fine ass and started aiming my shaft at her entrance. You tasted good, Shaltier. Ha. 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 And I know you like it rough. Ha. Momanga-sama W8. Without warning, I thrust my cock into her small pussy in a doggy position. It's so wet that it slid it in and immediately hit the entrance of her womb, but damn, it's also tight and narrow. Of course, even though it already the entrance of the womb, my cock still not fully inside. Well, that's expected. Anyway, Shaltier is a vampire, so I don't think blood will come out from her hymen that I had just torn in. She is also a huge M. Heart. Did she just come again after inserting? Because her insides are already contracting now, her already tight hole tightens more. It's like forcefully sucking my cock in. It's true that Albedo's succubus pussy is amazing. Shaltier's is just what I expected, but still, this is the tightest I've ever got into and it is no way less amazing than Albedo's. Pussies are just unique, gotta appreciate God's gifts. After her orgasm, I did not even give her time to rest and started thrusting my cock in and out of her. NN. Momanga Shama, heart. Heart. I just slapped her fine ass, and her pussy immediately tightens, making her moan loudly. I continued being rough on Shaltier. My fast pace didn't even slow down as I repeatedly rammed her meat hole, with occasional slaps on her ass that already red now. Every thrust is hitting the entrance of her womb. Momanga Shama. NN. I is so rough. I love it. Heart. And there she came again, and so I pulled out my shaft as she trembled, and then fell flat on the bed, and then I fixed her position and now she's under me, and we are facing each other. Her unfocused crimson red eyes tried looking at me. I deeply kiss her even though she's still in her dazed state. Momanga Shama, I love you, heart, I love you so much, heart, you're the only one allowed to punish me. I love you too, Shaltier, my little vampire wife. I deeply kiss her again and then move my hand to rub her one nipple. I will also stop being rough on her for now and started positioning my cock in her entrance and slowly thrust in. While inside her tight warm pussy, I continued deeply kissing her, sucking each other's mouth. Momanga Shama, heart. She can't help but moan while we're kissing, with another hand on her nipple, as I slowly added pace on my shaking my hips. Time passes by as we enjoyed our time with slow fucking, but of course, I'm getting ready to explode too. Shaltier, I'm going to cum. I inside. NN. Cum inside me, Momanga-sama, heart. I drop a kiss one more time before started putting more strength in every thrust, and getting faster and faster, assaulting her small meat hole, and abusing her womb entrance. I repeatedly piston fuck her with the intention of filling her womb. Nuu. Heart. Her pussy started contracting again. I know that she's going to come again. I continued repeatedly ramming and bullying the entrance of the womb, and then her insides contracted the moment I reached her deepest. Shaltier's expression is like crazy now, but I proceeded to deeply kiss her and her eyes go up, giving me a real-life ahegao. Heart. As I deeply kiss her, the tip of my cock is now in her deepest when I release my semen in front of her baby-making room, and there I exploded in her convulsing cunt, as she continued having an orgasm. Goopuri. Her pussy is smaller than Albedo, and so the moment I felt her insides is full of my semen. I immediately pulled it out and released the remaining white stuff to her belly, but with her short stature, my cum shot even reaches her face while she's convulsing. After shooting the remaining volume of semen, I looked at the spectacle. Shaltier's legs are now M-shaped with my semen flowing from her pussy like an open faucet, and her who still assumed the ahegao expression and with a body covered in my cum. That's amazing. I want more. I thought with my still stiff cock. Albedo looked at us with her blushing face, then turned to stare at me with expectant eyes. And there I continued doing it with my wives until morning, and finally convinced them along the way to not fight anymore because I'm going to make the both of them as the head wife of my soon imperial harem. They agreed with their filled wombs. I told them that they need to work together as one, and I won't tolerate infighting, and the mistake of one of them will be both their mistake. The session lasted for 11 hours. Momanga literally used high-level tier healing spells at himself to recharge again and again. Bruh. Sorry for that first lame lemon. Anyway, thank you for the stones. TheSimp creators' thoughts. 41 comments 0 vote. CH17, damn nobles. Guildmaster. Guildmaster. Calm down. Tell me what is it? Pluton Ainzok is currently in his office in Rantel Adventurers Guild when one of his staffs barge in. Ainzok, who was a former adventurer, could already feel the atmosphere. It's a premonition of his. In the cemetery. Undead, thousands of them. And no. More than that. What kinds of undead? Skeletons, a lot of them. And other lower undead, but there is already a 4 meters tall undead. Necroswarm giant is already there. Ainzok knew that the man is not lying. He also could feel it with just his sixth sense alone, but as a leader, he must calmly think about this. This sixth sense is naturally improved on the battlefield and during his long years of being an adventurer, even if it were not intentionally trained. It was obtained through experiences by placing oneself in dangerous situations, but even now that he's a former adventurer, the senses are already ingrained in him. But thousands of undead. Necroswarm giant. How? This is too fast. No, evacuation of the citizens is the priority. If Necroswarm giant already spawned, then stronger undead might spawn later. Mobilize all the adventurers inside and outside the city, tell the iron plates, and above to contain the undead and start to establishing parameters and start barricading from north to south of the city to stop the undead from the west with the help of the city guards. Then copper plates will start evacuating the people to the east, and summon all 3 mithril rank adventurers teams. Yes. And contact the mayor, magicians guild and sects of the 4 gods, and then send a notice to the surrounding cities and especially the capital. The Adventurers Guild started moving, various couriers have been sent, and a few iron-ranked adventurers have been sent to the cemetery, platinum-ranked rangers have sent to confirm the situation, and so on. This is bad. Ainzok thought. For years they have been guarding the cemetery, this is the first this kind of event happened. For years he's been a guildmaster, the Adventurers Guild, temples, and the city administration are serious in monitoring the cemetery. The cemetery is one of the biggest cemeteries inside a city in the region. All people knew how the undead hate the living, and also because of religion, they are so prepared against the undead. They had never slacked off going as far, stationing adventurers to patrol the cemetery, and temple priest guarding as well every day, but now bells around the city started ringing. It seems that the higher-ups of Rantel noticed the problem. Dash 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 dash. In less than 2 hours, all the higher-ups of the city gathered in the mayor's residence. In the room, there are few people present here. They are all responsible for coordinating the containment of undead. As both of you said, this thing is not normal. Are they correct? The mayor said as he looked at the men in white robes, each of them has 4 colors. The mayor is a man of short stature but also obese, but the sharp look in his eyes does not match his appearance. He's now discussing and coordinating with the people. Yes, like Ainzok said, this never happened before, and the largest undead that gathered in the cemetery did not even reach hundreds. One of them said. They are priests that lead the local temples of the 4 great gods. We, of the Magicians Guild, already sent our forces, but you must all understand that the magic items are still our priority. An extremely thin and neurotic-looking man wearing a robe said. He's Theo Rakeshir, the Guildmaster of Magicians Guild in Rantel. The mayor sighed. They really cannot do anything with the Magicians Guild, and he decided to change the topic and look to his assistant. Right. Anyway, have we hired every mercenary present in the city? Some of the mercenaries have been hired by the nobles. His assistant replied. The mayor can't help but furrows his brows. This is something that really bothers him. The damn nobles. Is it true? He looks to the Guildmaster of Adventurers Guild. Yes. Ainzok answered, which saddened him. Earlier, there's a commotion at the gate. While most of the people of Rantel are being evacuated to the east of the city, they saw carriages of nobles with their hired swords who received the information about the ongoing battle and made a scene that they are going out of the city. The one leading that is a mistress from Baharuth Empire, only accompanied by her butler. His people informed him that the blonde beauty with spiral curls and blue eyes, and is said to rival the most beautiful woman in the Re-Esti's kingdom, the Golden Princess. But even with that, the people now are angry with the nobles. The scene of nobles forcefully getting out of the city has been seen by many, and the word spread like wildfire and angered the people of Rantel. Nobles are generally hated in Re-Esti's, but now that this happens, the nobles are the ones that's supposed to protect and lead the common people, but here it is now. Dash 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 dash. The situation will be fine. Shut your mouth, filthy commoner. Shining Golden Pavilion is one of the most famous locations in the city as well as the most luxurious inn where only nobles and the wealthy could afford to live in. Another contributing factor to its reputation is their restaurant, which serves the best and most extravagant dishes cooked by first-class elite chefs. While the nobles and rich people enjoyed the service of the inn, the sudden ringing of the bell sent them into a panic. They thought the Baharuth kingdom is laying siege in the fortress city, but then a messenger sent by the city administration came. The messenger informed the people inside the inn that there's an outbreak of undead, but it's under control. Of course, he's just saying this for these nobles to not panic. While the news turned the nobles' faces white, their dumbasses still believed that it will be fine and continued their fun until one of the patrons started a scene. It's a blonde beauty, a mistress from the Baharuth Empire. She's so beautiful that they cannot believe they never heard about such a person before. Her beauty can rival the Golden Princess herself. Appearance may be beautiful, but the same thing cannot be said to her personality. Undead. And you are saying that we, nobles, must stay here in the soon-to-be infested city? Apologies. The messenger frightenedly replied, being shouted from people of higher society can make you lose everything. HMPH. Sebas. Let's go. Understood, mistress. The butler replied, his appearance of an elderly butler, and he is dressed gracefully in his traditional black uniform. His hair is entirely white, just like his immaculate beard. He has visible wrinkles on his hollow face, which makes him seem gentle in appearance. His mistress walked out while stomping the ground, making loud stomping noises as she headed upstairs to the inn. Yeah, isn't it safer to get out of the city? These certain thoughts are planted in the back of their mind. Are they having favorable thoughts for this because they think it's good or just mind control magic? Dash 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 dash. Beautifully designed coaches passed by the gatehouse of Erantel, these couches that someone can just own unless they are loaded with wealth. Nobles focused on their images, so they buy intricately designed couches that fit a man from the higher society. Outside, the couches are escorted by tough-looking men. They have armed with swords, spears, axes and wearing chainmail. A few of them wore full plates. They are all mounted in a horse, and also exuding the aura that only a veteran of battles has. They are mercenaries. The fortress city of Erantel is not only a hub for adventurers and merchants alone. Because of the annual war of the Re-Estais Kingdom and Baharuth Empire, mercenary companies are also always hired by the kingdom. Those damn nobles. Shish. Ninja-san, they might hear you. Peter whispered to Ninja, they guarding the gatehouse when flocks of nobles came to demand exit. They don't know what to do. While they certainly won't follow a noble's demand, it is still bad to anger them and might affect their job as adventurers. As an adventurer, it's all about the image of a team. Ninja does not realize it yet, but she's releasing killing intent, that the mercenaries could feel it, but they don't dare to start a fight with adventurers. The Silver Rank Adventurer Team, Sword of Darkness, is one of the 3 adventurers teams that are assigned to guard the gatehouse, 1 Gold Rank team, and 2 Silver Rank teams. A number of couches of the nobles forcefully got out of the gate with the mercenary companies they employed. They could only watch as the caravan horsed away the city. Those damn nobles. Leaving the people they are supposed to protect. Ninja Veyron, her sister, has abducted by a noble. Her ever burning against the nobles flared more. Her teammates could only look at her worriedly. They know what her reasons why Ninja aspired to be an adventurer. It's just to be strong. Strong enough to save her sister. School is starting. I want to cry. The updates may slow down. I need to get ready for university too. Wah. I can't even buy a cup of coffee. What a life. Anyway, thank you for support and Power Stones. TheSimp creators' thoughts. 35 comments, 0 vote. CH18, it's morning. Thank you, Sixus. Tell the chef that it was an amazing meal. Yes, Momanga-sama. Sixes is calm and collected outside, but I have sensed her happiness the moment I said her name, just like the other maids. Six's appearance is a young woman with long golden hair and golden eyes. She's the assigned maid for this day. She then removes the tray on my desk. I just ate my breakfast. If I didn't turn myself skeleton, I can't imagine when will I stop. I am now in my humanoid form because I want to eat, but an hour ago I had turned myself to my Overlord form because I need to calm myself. After all, I just can't stop fucking my beautiful wives who could only barely move and cannot form understandable words anymore, but they are finally resting now. That was bad. I think I just had overdone it. I need self-control now. Fortunately, lust is not kicking in now. I don't want to eat breakfast with a raging boner. Especially after doing that 11-hour session. Momonga-sama. Demiurge-sama and Uno are requesting an audience. The knock on the door and Sixes calling me pulled me out from my thoughts. Let them in. I replied with my regal tone. Sixes then opens the door and two figures enter my office. One is a man in a suit, Demiurge. The other has the appearance of a skeleton, devoid of both skin and flesh. It has a dark red light glowing inside the empty eye sockets of the skull and a dark halo-like object glimmering behind its head. And it looks like my Overlord form, except for the outfit. He wears a red robe. I named him Uno, one of the 10, level 90 Overlords I have personally summoned. I did not summon them using my powers, I just personally summoned them via mercenary NPC ritual that requires Yggdrasil's gold. Anyway, he's an Overlord Wiseman variant. He's an Overlord who specializes in attack magic. I'll have a hard time fighting him myself with only pure attack magic. Of course in my Overlord form I'll whoop him in my Seraph form. Why did I call him here? Well. Momonga-sama, where is Albedo? Is she late? There's nothing wrong with Demiurge's question. The Guardian Overseer must always be beside me, but she's probably sleeping soundly right now. Ehem. She's resting, Demiurge. Oh, I see. Did he just instantly deduced it to that? Demiurge fixed his glasses as he said that. I, who is in my Seraph form, right now am trying the very best to not show any emotion on my face. To think that a Supreme One will make an heir this early. As expected of Momonga-sama. This one shall help in bolstering our forces too. What? Demiurge says that without evident in his voice, but, heir. Now that I think about it, I believe that I have overdone it. While Albedo and Shaltir has almost got unlimited stamina, they mind are broken now because of too much pleasure. No. I believe they'll don't get pregnant that easily, right? Yeah, right. While I am convincing myself that I am not going to be a father that early and trying to pretend I didn't hear Demiurge's declaration that he will make babies. After removing the pictures of little Demiurges from my mind, I decided to change the topic. What is the status of the operation? Demiurge then looked to the Overlord named Uno beside him, and then the Overlord nodded. Irantel is in chaos. They are desperately holding the never-ending spawning of the undead until this morning. Sebas-sama and Solution-sama have successfully done the first process and now are on their way to capital with the Doppel nobles. The Overlord reported. From what I understand, I think he's talking about the few agents that assisted Sebas and Solution yesterday in getting out of Irantel. And as expected, adventurers are being called to Irantel. Demiurge added. I see. Excellent job for everyone involved in the planning of this amazing operation. We just followed your guide, Momonga-sama. Demiurge said as he and the Overlord bowed to me, which didn't sit with me well. I did babble my ideas like a machine gun, but they are the ones, 3 geniuses of Nazarick and Overlords, who made it possible for this plan to happen. While I fight a giant hamster. I thought as I cringed inside. Anyway, you might be asking right now that why these are here. I did call Demiurge to give him the tasks of scrolls and experiments. While Uno is just here to get the documents left by Albedo. Albedo holds the highest administration of Nazarick, so it needs to be kept moving. I am done with this stuff, so let the Overlords handle this administration stuff. The 50 Overlords have been trained by Albedo in administrative tasks, and since they are geniuses, they didn't even last 2 weeks in training. In turn, Overlord will pass some knowledge about the administration of Nazarick to Elder Liches, so everything will keep going. The Elder Liches are the ones doing the not-so-important stuff, so we're not going to use the geniuses for menial tasks that don't require their intelligence. I guess this is being a ruler feels like. I'm not doing anything and now I feel useless. I then tasked Demiurge with the creation of scrolls because we have quite a limited stock of parchments here in Nazarick, but since I already knew from the novel the results of these magic scrolls, I also tasked him with doing experiments that are beneficial to us, like making breakthroughs, and so on. I gave him my ideas about these so he won't take long in doing this and could focus on experiments that are deemed to be beneficial to Nazarick. L told him using ordinary animal skins can only contain about first-tier magic. Regular parchment could be used to store up to second-tier magic, but nothing above that. A higher quality spells and magic scrolls, higher quality of materials are necessarily required, like using human skin. It is possible to contain at least third-tier magic. On the other hand, a scroll made with materials of the highest tier, like dragonhide, could contain even 10th-tier magic and so on. As expected of Momonga-sama. To be able to see this far in the future, this one is forever grateful to be guided by the Supreme One. I need your intellect, Demiurge, that's why I tasked you. I am not as intelligent as the defense commander of the Great Tomb of Nazarick. Surely you jest, Momonga-sama. You're the most unfathomable one here, but if this is a challenge, then, I, Demiurge, must complete the task you have given me. And no, Demiurge, I am not as big brain as you think. The fact that I am not sweating right now while in my humanoid form surely deserves praise. Then good luck. Demiurge then bowed one last time after I dismissed him before bidding his goodbye while the Overlord picked the papers in Albedo's desks and later got out of my office. A woman's yawn could be heard in the room. She sits on the bed and then rubs her eyes, trying to remove the remaining sleepiness. Good morning, Nemu. Chew. Henry said to her still sleeping sister beside her before kissing her sister's forehead. She then heads to the kitchen to wash her face. After washing her face with water that goblins brought to their house yesterday, she hyped herself every morning as she always does. Yosh. This is like a normal day, but then a thought popped in her head as she walked to the main door. I wonder what's Momon-sama is doing now. As her hand holds the doorknob, she suddenly thought about Momon and then blushes. She just remembered what had just transpired yesterday. Henry, you're going to be wife. Momon's words repeatedly assault her last night that she fell asleep thinking about it with a deep crimson face, and now it's happening again. I am going to be Momon-sama's future wife. She deeply blushes again and can't help to be happy that she unknowingly released, hee. Chan-san. Kaijali, haha, nice weather, isn't it? Ah yes. Let me help you carry the water, An-san. She forgot that she already opened the door and the goblin Kaijali is already there in front of her. She became embarrassed and then let Kaijali in the house. But then. An-san. Kyume. A goblin shouted in a distance. It's Kyume, one of the two goblin wolf riders. He has a wolf that he is able to ride a wolf. He is armed with a spear and a small round shield attached to his left hand. They are usually out of the village to scout and sometimes hunt, but he's now speeding to Henry's house. What is it? I and Chosuk spotted two people on horseback heading here. They are armed too, and speeding to this place. Leader Jugumo already hide others. Kyume reported to Henry. Chosuk is one of the goblin wolf riders. Henry is relieved that Jugumo hid the rest of the goblins. Good. Then Kaijali. Yes, An-san. Kaijali rushed to the door. He's still about to get buckets to get water from the well when he heard his fellow goblin is here, a goblin wolf rider, which means something happened since the riders don't usually meet Henry, except when it's time to eat. You both must hide as well. Yes. 25 comments, 0 vote. CH19, the two head wives. She tiredly opened her eyes and sees a ceiling that definitely is not her room. She's never felt this tired before and she never thought that she'll even tire because she's undead, but now she felt lazy. She does not sleep, but she's laying on a bed now with a thick blanket covering her whole body from neck and beyond her toe. She sluggishly sits on the bed. Gopori. Ah. She can't help but made a sound. After she sat on the bed, her pussy ache a bit. She then removes the blanket to see her crotch and then sees it as white liquid starts flowing from her vagina. Her head is still processing why she's in another room, why she's naked, and where the hell is her boobs. Tisk. You're noisy. A female voice replied, and she recognized who was this hateful woman, but then she turns her head to her right and sees Albedo the gorilla with an annoyed expression. She looked like she just disturbed her sleep, but that doesn't help but make her more confused. Albedo. W, what's happening? Shaltir thought. Why you gorilla? What did you do to me? Albedo's face became that of an incredulous but still annoyed expression, looking at her like, are you retarded? I did nothing to you, dumbass, stop screaming. Albedo replied before covering her face with the blanket. Oh. Realization struck Shaltir as the memories of what happened last night started pouring into her head. I made love with Momonga-sama. This is Momonga-sama's seed. I'm going to have Momonga-sama's child. Hee. Her cheeks now have a tinge of pink as she remembered what happened. Her memory is still hazy though because all she did is orgasm and faint every time, but still genuine giggles continue to escape her lips. You're undead, how can a corpse become pregnant? Can you tell me about it? Shut up, I'm a true vampire. Albedo then removes the blanket covering her, emerging with a face as full of doubt. We're Momonga-sama wives now. Shaltir added. Head wives you mean? Don't want you to have the position of head wife nor even share it with a lamprey like you. I have no choice but to follow our beloved husband's decision, so I'll work with you. If I need to share the position and work with a gorilla for Momonga-sama's love, so be it. I won't eat your babies. Likewise. Silence in the room resumes. But then the room has been filled with giggles of the two women. They realized how silly became of it all. They insult each other every time they met, gather supporters for the position of head wife just for the both of them to both the head wives. But still, Momonga-sama is a beast. Mine is a bit sore now. I've been used by my dear husband more since all you do is squirt and faint every 2 seconds like a slut. How ironic to be called like that by a succubus. HMPH, no wonder you're a floor guardian because you're a floor yourself. Are you mocking the position the supreme beings bestowed upon me? And Momonga-sama loves them even they are small. As they tried to intimidate each other with their scary auras, the image of two naked women in one big bed with white liquid flowing out from their crotches erotic, quite a sight. After they stared daggered for minutes, they realized that they are in their master's chamber for almost 24 hours now. Anyway, Albedo, you have work, right? You're the guardian overseer after all. Did you forget that our beloved husband ordered us to rest for a day as he cleans us earlier this morning? Oh. If it's our husband's wishes then. Momonga did bid his goodbye to the two this morning, but Shaltir's brain is in a state of post-orgasm clarity at the time and it just ended a few minutes ago. They then decided to clean themselves. Momonga's room, like every supreme being's room, is big. It's like a house, complete with rooms needed. And so they took a turn bathing. As much as Shaltir wanted to let the precious seeds of her husband stay in her, she still wanted it clean if ever the next session comes. After that, as they got out of the room, then headed to Momonga's office. His office is actually just outside his room. Where's Momonga-sama? Momonga-sama headed to Karne and currently in Irantel now, Shaltir-sama. That's the reply Shaltir received from Sixus, the homunculus maid assigned for his beloved husband today. Albedo's eyebrow raised as she looked to her desk. Her desk that used to be filled with papers she works with personally are now gone. Momonga-sama handled the task for Uno for the day. Momonga-sama also told this one to tell both Albedo-sama and Shaltir-sama that you both must rest today since this will be your day off, and also to give this. Sixus said, and then she gave a folded paper to Albedo. Albedo unfolded the paper and began to read. She could read fast, so her face immediately becomes crimson red. Hey. Let me read it too. Shaltir said and get it from Albedo's hands. I'll assume that both of you already woken up, so good morning, afternoon my loves. I'm going to Rantel now, but I hope you both work together and won't fight anymore. You both are my wives, I love the both of you, you both will bore me my children in the future, and I can't wait to both of you again, once I'm home. Like Albedo, Shaltir's heart is overwhelmed with warmth, love, and lust. Oh, Momonga-sama, you're making me fall in love more with you. We must work hard for our husband more, Shaltir. Yes. We are the head wives of Momonga-sama's imperial harem. Let's gather the others or our title does not make sense, Albedo. You're right, Shaltir, Sixus, you and your fellow homunculus maids are also part of it. Albedo said to the maid in the room. Me. Albedo-sama. dash 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 dash. After the cowardly scene of nobles leaving the city, Ninya is now in the west part of Erantel. She's now part of the reserves. When magic casters expended all their mana, they are useless. That's why the higher-ups is conserving the use of magic casters. The battle in the east of the city is really a struggle. 4 hours had passed now, and they are still holding the rushed-made barricades. The reason they have been to hold this long is they have just that many manpower in their sides. Erantel is also full of rations, weapons, and potions. The undead might not tire, but the same could be said to the people of Erantel. Many men have been called to arms and equipped with armament to hold the charge of the undead. The plan is to hold until the reinforcement comes in. The communication is literally people on horseback sent to other cities because of the usage of the spell message, since the spell was not reliable, due to the content becoming less clear over long distances. Many countries did not rely on message for several reasons. One of them was the tragedy in the country called Gardenbarg. It happened in that country about 300 years ago. It was a nation founded by humans who were mainly magic casters, with cities centered around the quick exchange of information using message. But because they trusted message too much, when they received 3 falsified messages, a civil war broke out between the cities. Then it was destroyed when monsters and demi-humans invaded. Anyway, everyone is helping each other now. Except those damn nobles. Every single one of them is the same. Her anger against the nobles is now at the peak. And here she is walking in the panic street of the western residential district. As she continued walking trying to calm her burning hatred, she heard a roar of people in a certain place, and so she then tries to find her way there. The nobles ran and left us to die. Who is to blame? She then reached a plaza that used to a market and sees the man covered in a dark green cloak. He's on a platform, so he must be the one who shouted. Nobles. The crowd roared with anger. Right. Those pigs. She shouted in her heart. But then. Wrong. EEH. The man on the platform shouted so powerfully, the plaza seems to shake and everyone became quiet. You are all weak. Weak. Weaklings. You need others to protect you. You are nothing but just like the nobles. Our family is going to die, ye dipshit noble sympathizer. One man in the crowd rebutted, followed by loud agreements that they shall just throw the man out of the platform. He's right. Ninya thought. She's starting to think that the man on the platform is just a noble sympathizer. They are going to die. You are the father of your children. Protect them. We must be strong to protect the ones we love. The world is cruel and there's no place for the weak. The Supreme One has clearly stated in the divine compilation of the sacred text, the Covenant Codices Chapter 0, that weakness is a sin. And the only way to repent is just by being stronger. The man shouted. What the fuck is he talking about? Isn't this the man who gave those weird black booklets in 9th Street, they say? Some of the people murmured. You can't even protect your city. The nobles exploit the common people because you are all weak, and the ones that could not even stand for themselves for the greater good is weak. And should stay weak. Be crushed. The strong rules. And just by being strong to do good and follow the will of the Supreme One, is how you repent. Shut up. You know nothing when your loved one is gone because of the noble pigs. Ninya shouted angrily to the man on the platform. The man then turned in Ninya's direction. Then may I ask you, adventurer? Why did you join the Adventurers Guild? Is it to earn wealth? Fame? Woman? Or did the nobles abduct your loved one? You can do nothing about it. Aye. She's caught off guard with the last sentence and her brain just short-circuited. See? And you hated it, right? You hated to be weak. You don't want to be weak anymore, to be stepped on, spit on. Your loved one had been abducted because you can't protect her. You're weak. But you now walking the path to be strong. Dear adventurer. You chose the right path. The Path of Truth. I recommend you to read the Covenant Codices. Here's for you. The man then throws a black-covered book at her and it landed in her hands. Get that man out here. Yeah, beat that lunatic. The crowd shouted. The man in a dark green cloak immediately jumped from the platform and ran from the crowd. Some of the people then chased the man. Hey boy, you're just a kid, I'm sorry for you to experience that, may the gods would judge the soul of that wicked noble, and he will be delivered into a land of torment. A man from the crowd said to her as he patted his back. A typical believer of the four great gods then followed the crowd to chase the man earlier. Ninya is then left in the plaza with the book of that lunatic at her hands. Thanks for the stones everyone. TheSimp creators' thoughts. 41 comments 0 vote. CH20, E-Rantel incident. 4 o'clock, E-Rantel. Damn it. Fuck. They are endless. Sounds of bone smashing can be heard accompanied by crispy curses of some people. The forces of E-Rantel have been holding the undead for many hours now. The sun still did not rise yet, it's 4 AM now. The strategy they are using is to hold the undead with barricades. The city guards and soldiers and the assembled city militia are the ones holding. People that have been using swords and spears found themselves using a hammer or any blunt weapon since piercing weapons are useless against skeletons. It's becoming a pushing game for both sides, really. Adventurers and mercenaries joined every time there's a breakthrough of skeletons or if they need to push back the horde of unliving if they lose too much ground. Barricades are still being made so if they are pushed back the first line. Sometimes they will push the undead then build a barricade in the new front line, fall back if they can't hold, then do a counter-offensive with the adventurers and mercenaries frontliners, repeat. Some adventurers are lookout for stronger undead in the top of buildings. Magic casters will help from time to time like fending off flying undead, but they usually focused on bombarding stronger undead with attack magic or debuffs to assist gold, platinum, and mithril ranked adventurers fighting stronger undead. Paladins and clerics are leading the common soldiers in fighting the undead. Some mercenaries are also part of the common soldiers since they mostly lack knowledge on fighting monsters and undead compared to adventurers, but they are decent fighters since most of them are veterans. Mercenaries are those who carry out missions solely for the high amount of money rewarded. They are usually seen frequenting around places specialized in selling weapons and other items to them. They also participate during times of war. However, when peacetime arrives, mercenaries would often adopt the ways of a bandit or thief, attacking travelers without warning and looting their items afterward. Particularly, during the Baharuth Empire's yearly wars with the Re-Estais Kingdom at the Cat's Plains, only the knights from the Empire were professional soldiers. The kingdom, on the other hand, made a contract with a large number of mercenaries to square off against the empire. Once the war is over, mercenaries will no longer feel the need to fight for the kingdom and most of them would revert back to being bandits. Although mercenaries get hired on the job, they avoid visiting villages due to how common it was for other mercenaries beside them to be hired there. This was done so intentionally in order to avoid a confrontation and fight between former comrades of the same profession. Fortunately, a band of well-trained and reliable mercenaries is known to be employed by traveling merchants. For starters, they were entrusted with the task of protecting the merchants while moving to a different destination. And there are a lot of mercenaries in E-Rantel. Bam! Miguel maced the head of the skeleton undead. In just one shot, the red glow on its eyes diminishes after the skull is broken by the force of the strike. Hit him on the head. Yes. Miguel's shout is replied to by the people in the back. In the front of the files are veteran soldiers, mercenaries, and a few bronze-ranked and iron-ranked adventurers. Miguel is a mercenary. He's part of the Undefeated, a mercenary company formed in the Roble Holy Kingdom. They are numbered up to 146, most of them are young men who had finished conscription in their country and have a thirst for fighting and money. Miguel is part of the company for a year now and even participated once in one of the annual War of the Kingdom in Baharuth Empire. He became a mercenary because he badly wanted to cross sword with someone. Since his time conscription, he didn't experience a demohuman attack on where he is assigned. He's no great fighter, nor he has talent. He's pretty average, but he could slay a difficulty 21 monster himself. So there's that. He wears chainmail with a chainmail hood, a breastplate, and a barbuda helmet. This the third time their company exchanged with other mercenaries. They've been team tagging. Even though the undead are weak, these are endless and also do not tire, so they gotta be smart. Bam 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 bam. He brought his mace high and swung it down to 4 skeletons and they fell down like puppets whose strings had been cut but are quickly replaced with another set of skeletons. Ha. Ha. These fuckers. He decided to hide behind his big square-shaped shield that hides his entire body to catch for breath. The skeletons hit their bodies straight to his shield, desperately trying to hit him with their bony fist. Like the people beside him, as the frontliners, they are hiding behind their shields as they hold the push of the undead with their strength and the counter-push of their comrades behind them. 1, 2, 3. Push. One of high-ranked of their company shouted, like in the movie 300, the Battle of Thermopylae. They coordinatingly push the skeletons back, most of the skeletons have been pushed, and following the momentum, they stop hiding in their shields and everyone raised their maces and blunt weapon to strike the skeletons' heads. Bam 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 sounds of blunt weapons hitting the skeletons, and many of the unliving fell to the ground. 5 paces. Forward. Oorah. The mercenary assigned to lead shouted an order, and again they managed to gain more ground. Miguel raises the shield in front of him again, bracing himself in the incoming charge of the undead. Ah shit. Here we go again. In a bird-eye view, the cemetery of Erantel is like an ocean of undead, but you won't see it if you don't have a dark vision though. Thousands of this undead are flowing out, from gates of the cemetery to spread death to the living. A cloaked woman with short blonde hair and delicate features, she has a cat-like appearance, is looking at this beautiful sight and cannot help but smile as she remembers Kajiat telling her to not go out, but here she is now, in the wall around the cemetery looking at the skeletons marching full of hatred against the living. Clementine. The ritual is not done, do not go out. These words from Kajiat amuses her, but this is too boring, looking at him there, gathering negative energy to turn himself into something. She might even doze off there. She had done too much for this mission, she's one of the 12 executives and she's not even allowed to have fun. That's whack. Sorry, Kajiat, I want to play for a while. She said that as she looked to the line of people that the city has mustered that are now formed parameters against the undead. I want to add more in my collection. 3 o'clock, royal capital of Re-Estais. Re-Estais is a very ancient city. The seat of power of the royal family for generations, the best to describe the city, the word, old, would fit in. Many parts of the city are undeveloped and the exception to this problem is the central road, as it is in the area of the upper class and thus readily maintained. The houses that were lined up side by side are described to be large and magnificent, radiating a feeling of wealth. When walking farther and farther away out from the center of the capital, the roads or the streets will start to emanate dirty and a slightly foul stench permeating the air the closer one closes in. As the kingdom is low on finances, most of the roads are unpaved except the upper-class area. The roads to the royal capital of Re-Estais are not very safe to trend on, hence it requires several mercenaries to be hired for security reasons. This is also the base of one of the 2 adamantite-ranked adventurers team. Somewhere in the high residential district, the adventurers team, Blue Rose, lived. Lachias is described as a young woman with long blonde hair, green eyes, and pink lips that show a healthy gleam, but she's now in her pajamas sleeping soundly in her bedroom when she suddenly felt a presence in her room. And she immediately became alerted and reaches for her sword. Calm down, evil boss. Tia. Arg. Ha, I told you to knock on the door. Lachias relaxes and stops reaching on her sword after seeing the person who emerged in the shadow as Tia, her teammate. Tina has a slender body figure and dresses in light clothes and armor for the purpose of speed and stealth. Like her twin sister Tia, they both share exactly the same features and attire, the difference between them is the color of their ribbons. Tina's is red whereas Tia's is blue. The twins are assassins hired to kill her but now they are her teammates, she's still annoyed on this, she did tell them to knock. There's a commotion in the palace. Palace. Lachias thought, why would Tia be there? That's against the law of the kingdom but Tia is not finished yet. Not just in the palace, in Adventurers and Magicians Guild too. What happened? I heard this from the Adventurers Guild, there seems to be a huge outbreak of the undead in Erantel. Say what? Next chapter.